Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bus with Us. Hopefully you've missed us after a bit of a break from making videos. I'm going to try and get some more videos out there again and continue with the Gus files. What do we have here? Detroit diesel. So back to the Gus files. Gus started making oil, and you know that doesn't really happen, so it was diesel getting into the oil. So I changed the oil pressure's back up. I noticed it because the oil pressure was starting to drop a little bit, so I changed the oil's back up to 32 pounds on cruise, and we're going to pull the valve cover off now. I've already pulled this off once to have a look, and I snugged up a couple injector lines, and I'm going to pull it off now to have a look and see what's going on. Yeah, it's so humid out today. I don't know if you can see it, but those are water drops sitting on the engine. Last night it was pretty cool out. It was down to about 14 degrees Celsius, so the engine block, like, it still feels nice and cold to the touch, but it's so humid out here, everything is wet. Even my tools. I took my ratchet out of the shop and it fogged up. Like, I don't know if the camera will catch this, but it's just covered in humidity. So I'll get that cover off and get back to you in a sec. All right, we've got the valve cover off, and what we're looking for is oil on the top of these injection line tubes. If they're going to leak, typically this oil gets flushed away. So that looks okay. They're all looking okay to me. So the oil will, the fuel will dilute the oil, and then it will run off, and then these will be clean. So they all seem to have lots of oil on them, and it doesn't smell like fuel either. So not sure what to think, because I tightened down this one and the opposite one just a hair, but I didn't see it actually leaking out anywhere to say that it was leaking, and I just checked them and snugged them all. Anyway, so I got another plan. It's in a Ziploc bag because it's leaking, but I bought some dye that you can put in oil or fuel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out a jerry can, and I'm going to run the fuel hoses into a jerry can with a little bit of dye in it, and then I'm going to run Gus off the jerry can until I can see where the dye's coming out. It's a UV dye, so I'm going to use a UV light and a set of protective glasses and have a look and see if we can see where it's leaking. Okay, so here's the plan. We've got the side compartment open where the fuel lines run. I've got 10 liters, roughly 2 gallons of diesel fuel in there. I have fluorescent dye, and according to the package, it's telling me to use 1 ounce per quart. Actually, it's not per quart, it's per 4.7 liters per 5 quarts. So I need to put 2 ounces of dye for 10 liters into this can. We're going to mix it up, and then we're going to undo these lines here. I've already loosened them. I've turned the fuel to off so the tanks won't run out, and I'm going to dump the feed and the return into my jerry can. I've untied my hoses so I can get enough reach on it. Then we're going to run Gus on the dye until we can see where it's coming out in the valve cover, and hopefully we don't have any leaks anymore. If there are any leaks, I'm going to be able to see that with the fluorescent light. So let's get that running. All right, so we've got that. We got the dye in the can. We've got the can hooked up to the bus. Got the batteries on. Got the master on. There's another problem I got to fix right here. This solenoid's sticking, so I have to reset it every time I shut off Gus. So I just threw the valve cover on hand tight just so it doesn't throw oil everywhere. And we're going to start the bus from back here. I haven't done this in a while, so that's the stop. That's my light. And let's see if she starts. running, and we got the fuel lines running out of there. We got the disconnected, that's shut off. We're gonna let it run a few minutes. And then I'm gonna go get the UV glasses and see, and the fluorescent light, and see what we can see. All right, so we're gonna shut Gus off, and actually I'm gonna go turn the batteries off. Pull the valve cover. Right, I put these two on finger tight. All right, now let's hit this with the light. Oh wow, look at it all. Are they all leaking? That can't be. No, that's just the color of the oil. I think that's just the color of the oil with the UV light on it. I need to look at the actual dye to see what the dye looks like with the light on it. Let's go over here where I put the dye in, because there's probably some. I know I spilled some down the can. Okay, we found it. I don't know if you can see it on camera. That injector, not on the top of the nuts, but down on the injector itself is, I don't know if you can see the color difference. It's hard to say with the camera. It doesn't show up right. But number two is leaking. Yeah, see on the camera, I think it all shows the same color, but I can definitely see with the visual on the by eye, I can see that injector is wet on top. The tubes just have oil. That one is okay. That one is okay. That one is okay, and that one has dye. So number 2 and number 6 are both leaking. Everything else looks okay to me with the UV dye. So the UV dye did the trick. It showed me where it was leaking, where I couldn't see with the naked eye. So let's see if we can tighten those up, clean it up, and try it again. So again, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but oh, there it is. You can just catch a glimmer of it right there on top of that injector. You can see the UV dye, the green. And let's see if we can see it on number 6 as well, so then the dye. Yeah, just right there. You can see it a little bit, so you can see the dye. It actually shows up better on the camera without the UV light. So we've got 2 leaking injectors, and we found them with the dye. I couldn't see it otherwise, and we've got the culprit. All right, Gus is all back together. Successful road test last night after fixing the injector lines. I don't see any fuel leaking out anymore, so hopefully that's the end of that chapter. I think if I ever take those lines off, I'm going to replace them. The ends seem like they're getting worn and mushroomed down, so they took a lot of torque to seal, which they shouldn't take that much torque. Also, installed a new pressure gauge. I wanted to make sure the electric one up front was reading correctly, so I put this mechanical gauge. They tend to be a little bit more reliable. It's a good thing I did. I discovered that the front gauge was actually reading 6 pounds low. So although I've got 38 pounds at full throttle when it's fully warmed, it was only showing 2 pounds at idle. So the governor was good, 38 pounds within spec, 2 pounds was not within spec. But I installed this gauge and it actually turns out the front gauge is reading 6 psi low. So I've got 8 pounds fully warmed up at idle, which is pretty good for an old Detroit. Let's fire it up and let's see what we've got cold on the pressure gauge, because I installed it when the engine was already warm yesterday, so I couldn't see that. All right, batteries are on. I got to reset this because this is sticking. There, that's reset now. Now it should start. Let's see. Cold start. After sitting overnight, it's about 14 degrees Celsius. And that's a wrap.